Good afternoon, students. My name is Troy and Tecau. I'm your instructor for this class. It is a painting class slash still life class held online, which that's the way we're doing it these days. So I'm going to talk to you a bit about myself, about the course. About myself, I'm a painter. I've been teaching for many years. I've been teaching here. I've been teaching in state schools in Ohio. And I'm a painter. I take painting very seriously. I know most of you probably are not painters and are taking this course for a variety of reasons. But my job is to give you a basis of how to look at art, essentially, in a way, how to tell a good painting from a bad painting, which you're going to see on Thursday. I have an example, I'll show you one today, a really bad painting. But I'm going to teach you in a formalist fashion, that being, we're composing the picture plane. The picture plane is what you draw or paint on. That is the plane. In my photographs of what I want you to start, your first painting, it's going to be a still life with a mannequin, a rectangle behind it, another rectangle, and a circle. The first assignment is about value. Value is the relative lightness or darkness of the neutrals, black and white. Black and white are not colors. Or the value, the lightness or darkness of a color. And you achieve this by adding white to the color, which makes a tint, and black to a color, which makes a shade, and the neutral gray makes a tone. What we're going to be working with in our first drawing and painting is, I'd like you to do a drawing of that still life on your 18 by 24 inch paper. I will show you a little quickie of it. So my suggestion is to take your 18 by 24, I'm with you. Unfortunately, I'm not Bob Ross and we do not have a 3-camera setup in the studio. We have a phone. So you're going to have, but I'd like you to start by, the simplest way is to draw a line on your paper. Oh, maybe I should have gone for a different color. Straight down across and across the middle. That divides the picture plane, which is what we're working on, into 4 sections. As you're looking at the photograph that I have, I would like you then to loosely, aka this way, just loosely draw this in. Now, drawing is the mother of painting. One of the things here is you do not have to have a drawing class prior to having a painting class, which I may have some issues with, but we can still work this all out. So, then you're going to do a loose drawing. This is value. When you're going from light to dark, or dark to light. Value and overlap on a picture plane are what establishes a cohesive unit. Color, line, shape, value, and texture are what make a painting. You divide it like this. Then you loosely sketch it in. If your sketching abilities aren't that great, do not panic. Just look, this section is the head in this section. Put the head, just loose. Do not go crazy and have your fingers and eyes start to bleed. But cover the entire picture plane. You're responsible for everything. That is the picture plane. So I'd like you by Thursday to at least do, because we're going to look at them on the Blackboard thing or on the Zoom thing, I want to see what you did. Actually, I kind of like the marks on here. Part of that is I like my own drawings quite a bit. But this is the way I draw it. Other people would draw it so it would be photographically of this. Somewhere in between the two sides, you are. So this is a loose sketch. I want you to look at it and think about it though. Think about what you're saying. One of the most important things on the picture plane here, obviously, the shadow. It's big, it goes up, it's dark. This big circle, what the heck's it doing over here? The figure. What's going on here? This is not just a plain empty space. What's going on here? Again, not a plain empty space. Now let's see. 1 second. We're talking about value, relative lightness or darkness. So here we have what I got from the college, from someone else's class. I don't think I had this person. I think I would have, well, I don't know, I may have blinded myself. This is an incredibly bad version of a still life. A, you probably can't tell it's a still life. B, the thing that adds interest here in all of these, this is the neutrals. You've got black here, white here, and then all these infinite shades, values of that. Now this person used 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 values. So you never get any sense that there's no subtlety here. I feel no three-dimensionality here. In the drawing, this really is terrible, by the way. I'm sorry if someone out there in the class has done this, but you have to work much harder this semester. None of this stuff means, it's not, every mark you make on a canvas changes it entirely. This is very critical. There's no, let's fill this bottom in. Things closer to you are lighter. Things further away get darker. Hence, this is a ball. The closest part of the ball is right here, because it's shaped like that. That would be the lightest, which they didn't really show. And slowly we get darker, changing the value. Going back to the drawing, this is how you create three-dimensionality. Look at the head, if you can see the head. These little subtleties, these touches, this is what makes things come alive. This is the beauty of art. It's the difference between a good drawing, a mediocre drawing, a lousy drawing, a horrific drawing. So, where are we now? Well, I want to show you a painting. We're going to talk about this painting Thursday. I wasn't going to do this right at this moment, but hey, you're lucky. Here's a painting.
Unknown caller. Unknown caller.
Ooh, someone's calling me. Too bad. Can you see this? Sorry about that. I had to take a break. The tyranny of all of this electronic gadgetry is people can bother you whenever they want, because we have cell phones and we have computers. I'm kind of prior to this. Okay, here's a painting. I want you to look at it. There's a little beauty. And prior to Thursday, I want you to look at this picture quite a bit and give me some thoughts on this painting. We're going to see it again Thursday. We'll start with, is it a good painting? To your mind's eye. Is it a warm painting or a cool painting? Well, it's obviously warm because of the colors. Is it put together well on the plane? I'm going to answer all these questions and we'll talk about it on Thursday. But this is one of my favorite paintings I found on the street in Brooklyn where I live, and it's the perfect vehicle to show a whole lot of things about art, about how you compose the picture plane, and about color. So this painting, which was done by somebody called Ray, it's turned out to be very handy for me. All right, so you're going to be doing a drawing of our still life. You're going to you're going to make your values. Now, one of the things that's on my list that you should get, this first painting is you're just going to need black and white. This is a study in neutrals. The two paintings that I have on my announcement page, one is Picasso's Guernica, an abstract painting. The second painting I have is the classic, everybody knows it maybe, Whistler's Mother, which is an abstract painting also. At least listening to Whistler describe it. It is actually titled A Study in Black, White, and Grays. It's a very beautiful painting, and the Picasso is also a very beautiful painting. We will discuss these. We'll talk about how they're put together. The Picasso painting was done in Spain when the dictator Franco bombed a village of his own people pretty much out of just meanness. They did not agree with him. So rather, that was his version of dialogue. He killed everybody. It shocked the world. So when we're mixing colors, I'll do a little of that right now. Also, on my list, color wheel, great thing. Great thing. Mixing guide shows all the colors. We're going to be working with red, yellow, blue, the primaries, mixing them to get all the other possible colors. The size of the tubes I'd like you to buy these are 120 milliliters. Pick those up. I mentioned Blick. You have to pay attention. I bounce around a little when I talk, but actually there's a lot of good info there. So when you're mixing your neutrals, this is just a little beginning of neutrals. You put, whoa, there goes, I got it. A blob of white down and a blob of black down. A little too much black. You mix them together to get a neutral gray. This is a palette knife. Get a little water here. We're using acrylic paint. Acrylic paint is a water-based plastic paint. It's cleaner to work with than oil, does not stink up your house, dries quicker, but if you get it on your clothing and let it dry, it's going to be there forever. Now see, I mixed up a neutral gray here of sorts, but it's not that neutral. It's gray on the dark side. So if we start with white at one side, put a little more down. Yeah. Mix it up. Now when you're mixing this paint, it comes generally out of the tubes. It's not so thick. What you're trying to do is mix up a nice consistency. You're just playing with this. And of course messy. Still a little light, but. So here's gray, that's still dark. That's closer to the black. I would like you to make on your paper, you're going to do a couple of those sketches of this thing with lights and darks. My suggestion is to to have the photo printed out of your computer in black and white. It'll help you a lot to reproduce it on your paper. But very loosely divide the painting in 4 quadrants. You could do 8, 12, 24. And then you're going to, using at least 7 values, start painting it. Now things closer to you are lighter, things further away are darker. Oh, dear. This is very strange for me because I'm used to looking up and seeing faces talking, and now I'm just talking to the camera. I'm starting to feel like Bob Ross. Put a cute little tree over here. Great. So now I'm mixing up a lighter gray. Here's 2 values of gray, darker, lighter. I would like you, with using your charcoal, to try to start in the center and slowly go from the center gray, making it lighter, 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 till it gets to black one way, and the other way starting with the neutral gray and making it darker, 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 darker till it gets to black. One goes to white, one goes to black. This will give, and I would like 7 moves at least. Because that's what you need. That's why that other painting failed, among other things. There was no overlap, the line was similar everywhere. My first project for you is kind of simple in that there are very few shapes, and it gives you a chance to get used to your tools because the brushes are fun to play with. Pick up a brush kit. This is from Blick, Royal Lang Nickel series of brushes. Pick this set up, similar set. You have at least 6, 8 brushes. And buy a fan brush also. A fan brush is the kind of thing, sort of looks like a women's makeup brush. It's shaped like a fan. I only use mine on weekends. Kidding. Okay. So I'm playing with this paint now. Things further away are darker, things closer are lighter. Just bear with me, folks. Here's another gray. But look at this stuff that you can do. In this class, you're going to be doing my assignments, but they're coming through all of you, who are all separate. And none of your paintings, outside of the fact they're of the same object, will look the same, nor do I want them to. I don't want you to do my painting. I want you to do your painting. So within this structure, you have a lot of freedom to what type of marks you're making, what type of lines you're making, and most of this boils down to your personality or your thinking process. It's a very creative thing. Painting is a creative act. If it wasn't, why do it? People for years said painting is dead when photography came. But painting is hardly dead. Painting is alive and well. So Thursday, when we meet at our first Zoom meeting, I would hope that you've done a couple of quick sketches. You can take your charcoal on its side and create value, aka this way. know if you're seeing this, holding the charcoal on its side. 1 second. And just pulling it across your paper. Look at that. That, ladies and gentlemen, is value. Look at that. Line and value. It feels like you could touch this. It feels like part of a branch, part of a horn. Who knows? Well, when you're drawing, that's what you can do. So it's not simply making an outline and coloring it in. You got to put on your creative hats here for me. That by itself. So, for Thursday, you're going to look at, I have so much more to tell you. It feels a little clumsy being in this position here, but we'll make it work. For Thursday, do a couple quick sketches on your 18 by 24 inch paper, which is what you need, with charcoal. Loose, just to get a feel of the line. This is not a haphazard still life I put together. I tried to get a variety of things. We have geometric elements, we have amorphic or biomorphic, the figure, it's loose, natural forms. We have that big circle of the light. Just do some play around with that, and if you have your paints, mix up a middle neutral and then take it all the way to light and all the way to dark. You could do this with your charcoal also. This is only a 6-week class, so we really have to bear down. I would suggest not getting behind. The way I grade, yes, the way I grade. People are interested in grades. I grade on kind of a sliding scale. Most often, the first painting is a person's least successful, because I've yet to really beat my thoughts into your head. But by the second painting, you should be rocking and rolling. So don't worry about the grading. If you do the work, you're going to be fine. If you do the work, your paintings are going to be fine, which is the most important thing. So until Thursday, I've got to clean up here. I'm at my friend's house. It's actually a regular home, and I'm getting paint all over everything. Whereas I do not live in a regular home, and paint is already all over everything. So have a good evening, and it'll be nice to meet you Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.